Part D, copy data related to JavaBeans. Last time, I gave you the basic properties and some basic concepts. This time, we need to use JavaBeans. Okay, yeah. The basic usage for JavaBeans, we know data storage. All right, data storage. Okay, yeah, here. Well, let me just, before we look at the details, yeah, so they use JavaBeans. Typically, two usages here. The first one, store data. For communication, all right? Yeah. But there is second usage, also very important. I didn't mention last time. Today, we need to use it. So here, let me give you here, data processing. JavaBeans can also do data processing. We can put some data processing methods inside JavaBeans. In that way, you know, we can do a lot of things. Just use JavaBeans. All right, yeah. So that's another important usage, data processing. So that would make JavaBeans very powerful. Okay, yeah. Then, if we can shift data processing part into JavaBeans, then we do not need to write a lot of data processing code in our JSP. Yeah. So here, a good way to use JSP, do not write too much Java code inside JSP. We try to minimize Java code inside JSP. Yeah. So this is some important point. Yeah. When you use JSP, yeah, try to minimize Java code inside JSP. Right? Yeah. So some of you may wonder, we know the original goal, we use JSP, we want to do dynamic content inside JSP, right? Dynamic content. That means you need to write Java code. Yeah. But the why here, you also say we try to minimize Java code inside JSP. Now, the reason is simple. In order to, yeah, because the reason we use JSP, that is for data presentation. That is the, you know, basic reason we use JSP, data presentation. Okay, not data processing. All right, if you use JSP to do a lot of data processing work, that means it's not a good way to use JSP. You have to find some other better way to do it. Okay, better way. And JavaBeans is one of such better ways. Yeah. All right. And later we have other ways to do, you know, data manipulation. Yeah. Let's say data manipulation. Okay. Yeah. We try to add power to JSP. So today we will finish module 3. Then starting from module 4, I will introduce a few more technologies that we can add into JSP for efficient data manipulation. All right, so let's start. D.1, create and load a JavaBeans in JSP. Now, the first step, we need to do creation, JavaBeans creation, also loading JavaBeans. All right. Create a JavaBeans in JSP. Yeah. All right. Use the JSP:\useBeans tag. JSP:. We will have many tags that follow this pattern. JSP: something. Okay. JSP: something. Yeah. So we call these type of JSP tags, we call JSP actions. Okay. JSP actions. All right. Yeah. So we can do a lot of things using JSP actions. Okay. All right. So this is useBeans tag. The first one we use. A JavaBeans in a JSP is any here, yeah, let me explain this sentence. Yeah, although it's a short sentence, but I need to explain a lot of things. A JavaBeans in a JSP is any instantiated object. Look at this meaning. Yeah. You know, instantiated Java object, right? You create a Java object, okay? Yeah. But here, look at this term, Java space bean. Java space bean, 2 words, okay? It is different from JavaBeans, all right? Java space bean, what is different from a Java no space capital bean. Look at the representation. That little difference. Yeah, because this Java capital bean no space, it must follow JavaBeans specification. But this Java space lowercase bean, it does not have to follow JavaBeans specification. That's the difference. All right. Yeah. And actually here, any instantiated object we use in a JSP, we can make it a bean. Yeah, sometimes people just call a bean because we know here we are in the JSP context, right? It's a JSP context. Then we just simply we call it bean. That bean, your understanding should be any instantiated object, not necessary a JavaBeans, a standard JavaBeans. Although most of the time we use standard JavaBeans, right? But here the rule it does not 100% follow the rules for JavaBeans. Still, it's okay. Yeah. More general than the standard JavaBeans. Okay, all right, so here, all right. It does not need to follow, yeah, JavaBeans specification. Yeah. So in that way, you will see some naming rules may not follow JavaBeans naming rules. Okay, but if you do not follow Java naming rules, you may not be able to use the automatic data copy between parameters, and Bean properties. Here we can still call Bean properties, right? Yeah. Although not JavaBeans properties, but we can still call Bean properties because that's convenient. Right? That's convenient. All right. Yeah. Okay. All right. Syntax. How to create a bean. So here we, use the general bean. But most of the time we use standard Java bean here. All right. All right. This example. Now look at JSP : use bean ID. The first attribute we need to use. ID, you need to give a reference name for your bean. Yeah. Because later you need to use this name to refer to this bean. So ID, attribute, reference name. Then the class of your bean containing package. Okay. So the container can find this class easily. Okay. All right. Scope. Yeah. You have an option to specify that scope. Remember last time we learned 4 different scopes here: application, session, request, and a page. Yeah. Here I will list another time. Yeah. Here. All right. It instantiates a class to create a bean, and this bean can then be accessed in these a few places. These a few places. But after you create a bean, you need to use somewhere, right? Yes. Where can you use these beans? Certain places. Yeah. Here I give you 3 different places we can use this bean. Yeah. All right. The first one, EL. This is some new technology we will learn in next module. Module 4, I will talk about this technology. So what is EL? That is the full name for it, expression language. JSP expression language. All right, so this is a very powerful, very convenient way to access data stored in different scopes of JSP. You will love it. Yeah. Java programmers, after they learn this technology, EL, very simple, very easy to learn, they love it. Yeah. They always use EL, in the suitable situation. Yeah. So module 4, we will spend a lot of time to talk about that, EL. Okay, all right, yeah. Scriptlets. Yeah, so scriptlets, we can embed Java code. At that time, you just grab, use that bean. Okay, the bean you created. Yeah. All right. Then JSP expressions. Third place you can use. Yeah. All right. So usually we use in these 3 places. Then other places we should be very careful. Okay, other places we need to be very careful because we need to think about the class scope or method scope, that concept. Remember, we discussed about that class scope, method scope thing. Okay, yeah. All right, next, load a bean in a JSP. Then, yeah, because after you create it, then where is that bean? Inside JSP container, the being you created is stored somewhere in certain scopes, certain scopes. Okay, it's available. All right, yeah. And you may need to access that being from different JSP pages. May not be the page you created. You may need to use that being in different pages, but within the same scope, that make sure if you want to access some being, that being should stay in the same scope with your current JSP page. All right, okay. Example, how to load. We use JSP : use being action, this tag. Yeah. This time, all right, yeah, just a minute. Yeah, this time, yeah, the first line, yeah, all right, okay. Yeah, this line, okay, yeah, all right. Equivalent expression. Yeah, so here I want to explain. Equivalent expression tells you how does the container to implement this line. ID, that's the reference. Then the class tells you which being class you need to use. Okay, yeah. Here I write the equivalent expression. That is a standard Java instantiation statement, right? Yeah. The class name, full.person, then the reference person. You can see ID, that reference is placed here. Then the class, declaration. Yeah. Yeah. But this line is implemented by the container. Not by us, Java programmers. Okay, so we do not need to write this line. Yeah. Behind the scene, the container does this automatically. Yeah. Here you can see, remember, there is a rule for Java being constructor. Yeah. If we recall, a property for Java being constructor, there must be a zero argument constructor, right? Zero argument constructor. So this is the zero argument constructor. Zero argument constructor. That's the reason, in order to make the container instantiate this being automatically, you need to provide zero argument constructor. Otherwise, this step won't work. Okay. Otherwise, this step doesn't work. Okay. So that's simple. Yeah. All right. So next, additional options. Okay. All right. Specify a scope. Yeah. Here, when you create it, when this create and load. So here you can see, actually, this line contains two possible things you can do. Create or load. Because create or load, these two actions happen for two different situations. Create, if there is no such being instance is created in the JSP context, all right, then it is created. But if there is already such a being stay inside the JSP context, then you do not need to create, you just load it. Okay, so that's why we say sometimes we create it because it's a brand new one. But sometimes we do not create it because some previous page already creates it ready for us to grab it. Okay, in that situation we load it. Okay, yeah, so that's the difference. All right, specify a scope. Yeah, there are 4 scopes. So we have a chance to specify at the end. So like scope equals, so you put a scope description after it. All right, yeah. Page, request, session, application. But a page, I put an underline for the page. That means it's a default case. Default case. If you do not specify any scope, that means it's the page scope. Okay. If it's a page scope, that means after this page completes execution, it's gone. Because you get out of the page scope, then that means it's gone. It's destroyed. It's gone means it is destroyed, recycled. All right? Yeah, not available. The resource of that being is released, okay, in order to save more memory resource. Okay, yeah, the page scope. Yeah, all right. That can make the being associated with more than just the one page, more than just the one page for the remaining 3 scopes, not a page scope. Then you can associate that being for multiple pages. But at that time, you need to understand, yeah, the main thing here is the request scope. Request scope. Because for the request scope, how many pages a request scope can cover? That question I will explain later. That question not very easy to understand. I need to use some examples to show you. I can use a request scope to cover 3 pages. It's several pages. If I do something special, I haven't taught that special thing. All right. Yeah, so I delayed that a little bit because that is an important concept. So we will learn that later. All right. Obtain a reference to the existing being. This is the load case. Okay. Load case, the being you want to use existing. Okay. You do not need to create a brand new one. It's available there. Okay. Yeah. So obtain a reference to the existing. Yeah. So here, the being with reference person here exists. Yeah. So we just get that instance and use it. All right. If no existing being created one, so this is the new creation, new being creation, brand new one. Okay. If there is an existing being, return it. Return that existing being. Yeah. Yeah. All right, so that's the first step. We can create if necessary. Yeah. Sometimes you do not need to create if necessary. And the load, so you just take that reference. So you can access the data in that being. Okay, all right. All right, yeah, so do not create a new one. D.2, set and get being properties. Next, we need to access the data to and from a bean related to its properties. Okay. All right. Set properties, setters, getters. Yeah. We assume we have appropriate setters and getters to use for those properties. Yeah. Following the naming rules. Yeah, so you can see these hidden conditions following the naming rules. Okay, yeah. So this time we use the JSP:set property tag. Yeah. Set property tag. Okay, yeah. Then look at this example. Yeah. The first line, load or creation, right? Yeah. Because you need to get an instance first. If no such a being, you need to create a one. Okay, yeah. So you'll understand the meaning of this line. Yeah. That's from the previous slide. Okay, all right. Then second, we need to use the set property tag. Yeah, all right. And not necessarily immediately follow that. You can have, insert some code between, okay? Not necessarily back to back, because you may, do something else. Then, yeah, because the being here, you already loaded it into this reference, person reference, okay? Then, in order to set the property of this being name, use the attribute name, and it refers to the same reference person. Okay, then property name, yeah, you need to specify property name. Then property value, okay, yeah, in this way. Okay. Here, make sure ID value, name value must be the same. Yeah. So that's simple. Okay. In this way, you set being properties. But here, you set being properties, but you just set one being property, right? One being property. If you have a second being property, then another one. Okay, a list of being properties you can set. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. All right. All right. It sets properties using setter methods from beings declared with useBean tag, JSP:useBean tag. The container calls the setters automatically. You cannot see it. Yeah. So the container does that automatically. Okay. Yeah. So you can imagine what kind of code the container would use here. Yeah. It's very easy to recover that code. Okay. All right. Yeah. Here, yeah, actually, I can write that code easily. All right. Yeah. Container, yeah, here. Name equals person. So we use person as the reference, dot, okay? The container, so here, the container does that. This is the container's automatic action, yeah. Setter set. Property name, what's the property name? Name, okay? Capital N, name. All right. Property value, double quotes, Fred. Yeah. This is what the container does. When the container process this tag, it will translate it into this normal Java code automatically. Okay, all right, yeah. Get being properties. Similar to setter, here, the getter way. Okay, all right. Get properties. This time we use JSP::get property tag. All right. Look at this example. Still, the first line, yeah, just you know, we need to load it, at least load it, create or load it. Okay, yeah. Then second get property, yeah. Similar to the previous slide, we may put some code, not necessary back to back. Okay, yeah. Yeah. So then this time we use the get property tag. You can see the way we use it the same. The way name, reference, property name, but you get the value, right? Yeah. So you do not specify the value. You retrieve the value, store in the name property. The container calls the getter automatically. Okay. Yeah. Equivalent to this. Yeah. See it here. Yeah. So this line is equivalent to get the value in the name property in this one. Here we use JSP expression. Look at that equal sign. Equal sign tells us it is a JSP expression. Okay. So we use JSP expression to retrieve that being property. The reference is the person dot get name. Calling its method, get name method. Okay, yeah. Remember, there is no semicolon, right? Because it's not a statement. It is not a complete Java statement. JSP expression, we do not append semicolon at the end. Okay, yeah. All right. So that is the JSP expression way to do the same thing. But there is another EL way. Yeah. We will learn in module 4, but here I like to let you see our first EL expression. Our first EL expression in this class. If we want to do the same thing using EL way, what's that? This is the way. $sign. A pair of curly braces after the dollar, all right? Then your reference person dot property, dot operator property. That's the way you access a property of a being using EL way. Look at that, okay? Yeah. Later you will see this EL way. Yeah. Although here when you compare these two different ways, it looks like not too much difference, but later you will see EL way is much easier to use and more convenient to use and more powerful. More powerful, it means you write minimum code, but you can do a lot of things. That means powerful. Okay? Minimum code. Okay, shortest possible expression, but you can do a lot of things. That's the EL. Okay, all right. It retrieves properties using getter methods from beings declared with JSP::use_being. Yeah, the way to retrieve. Yeah, so here actually, I do not need to repeat it. Yeah, so you just look at the JSP expression way, you know, the specific way to retrieve it. Yeah. The container calls the getters automatically. Okay. Yeah. All right. So copy data. Yeah. Setter getter. Okay. All right. Especially useful for data binding. Yeah. Here we connect to the data binding concept. You know, data binding concept, we need to do data copy, right? Data copy between two sets of variables, let's say in this way, all right? Yeah. One is, being properties. Okay, all right. To and from, all right, yeah. Another, okay, we can call query parameters. Right, yeah. The copy to and from, automatic, auto, right? Two-way copy, automatic. That's what we mean for data binding. Okay, yeah. Last time we spent a lot of time learning data binding concept. Yeah. If we use some short way to explain, yeah, so that's here. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. All right. I will show you some examples. Yeah. All right. D.3, associate being properties with input parameters. That's the way. Data binding, the way data copy between being properties and input parameters. Okay. All right. Associate individual properties with input parameters. We need to tell the container how to make the mapping between being properties and input parameters. Okay, all right. Use param attribute. Param attribute. Okay, yeah. How to use, look at this way. Okay, set property, yeah, here. When we use the setter copy set property, yeah. Name, reference, my being, reference, property, this my property of this my being, yeah. Parameter, input parameter, what input parameter? Yeah. This my param, in this example, we need to specify my param. It could be first name, it could be last name, it could be email, the specific parameter names you put there. All right, yeah. So that's the typical way. All right. Data conversion. Yeah. Because when we do data copy, sometimes you need to do data conversion. Not you need to do, the container will do, but you need to be aware of it. Some data conversion occurs behind the scene. Okay, yeah. The parameter values are string. We know all input parameter, they are in the form of strings. Okay, by default. Yeah, but sometimes you need to do, for example, you want to get numerical values, right? Yeah, your being properties could be numerical values. Then a string to numerical value conversion would happen behind the scene. Okay, all right. Some of the being properties may not be of string type. And it could be date type, right? Yeah. Other than numerical types, date type, and possibly some other types. Okay, yeah. JSP automatically performs type conversion from string to numbers, characters, and the Boolean values. Here, you see JSP can do relatively simple conversion. So these conversion, relatively simple conversion. If more complicated, then you need to do a lot of work, all right? Yeah. For simple conversion, automatic. Yeah. For advanced conversion, you have to do more work. Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, we can do that. JavaBeans specifications provides some special way that allow you to do that kind of conversion. But that's not automatic. Okay, you need to do setup. You need to, write some conversion classes. A lot of work. Okay, yeah. If we have a chance, yeah, but probably we may not have a chance to look at that. Yeah, but you just know there is a way to do that. Okay, if you want to do things like that. Yeah. All right. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So this is redundant. Yeah, because when I do editing, sometimes I forgot to erase the first word. If the specified input parameter is missing from the request, yeah, sometimes you specify some input parameter, but that parameter is missing. It's not there. It's possible, right? Yeah. You like to copy, for example, first name, but that first name is not available in the request. That could happen. Then no action is taken. No action is taken. Okay. The system does not pass null to the associate property. Yeah. So no action taken. Yeah. It won't be the null value, right? Yeah. No action taken. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So that's the rule. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. So that's the individual properties. But sometimes we may like to find an efficient way for association. More efficient way for association. Okay, yeah. So you have a chance to do that. Associate all properties with input parameters, but you need some condition first. In order to use this efficient way, you need to have some basic condition first. Yeah. So let's look at the syntax. Yeah. JSP : set property this time might be in reference. Look at this efficient way. Property equals double quotes star. That's the risk symbol. Yeah, star. We know it represents all properties, right? Yeah. So just similar to your Unix way, all parameters. And all parameters, the parameter names and, property names and the input parameters, and they have the same name. When you use the star way, you assume being property names, input parameter names, they must be the same. One-to-one correspondence must be the same. Otherwise, you cannot use this way. Right? Otherwise, if you use this way, some items, some parameters, properties, you cannot make copies successfully. Okay, yeah. So that's the basic requirement. Requirement here, the property names must match the parameter names exactly, including case. Okay, case sensitive. Okay, yeah. Only in that way, you can use this efficient way. Yeah. So for this property, yeah. So when you create a JavaBeans, yeah. So people with experience, usually they like to make their property names match the input parameters, query parameters, input parameters. In that way, data copy, very easy, very efficient. So we can use this star way to do that. Okay, pretty convenient. Yeah. All right. Okay, yeah. No action is taken when an input parameter is missing. You may get it wrong, right? Star. If there is no one-to-one correspondence, then the missing one, there is no action on it. Okay, yeah. Sometimes you may use this one, yeah, because you may not have exact match. Okay, yeah. Some of the properties, parameters may not match. Yeah. You allow that happen, no action. Yeah. All right. Good. All right. So that's the basic things we need to do for data copy. Yeah. D.4, I like to show you a demo, guestbook example. Yeah. So I upload this zip file containing this example under that part D of module 3. Yeah. Now let me show you how to run it. Okay. If I have some time, I will explain part of the code a little bit. Okay. All right. Yeah. So let me run this example first. All right. Yeah. First, because I need to use database in this example, so I check my database is ready. Okay. All right. And I give you the database script. Here, let me show you the. All right. The guestbook zip file, after you download it, unzip it. In the guestbook folder, there is a DB folder. Inside DB folder, you have a database script file called guestbookdb.sql. And when you create a database, I hope you know how to create a database. Yeah, you look at the animal survey example. There, I show you how to create a database. Yeah. Here, when you create a database, remember use the name guestbookdb as your database name. Yeah. Here, when I make my database script, I intentionally use the same database name as the file name. So when you see the file name, you know what database name you should use. Yeah. Without that extension, .sql part. That's our database name. Okay, yeah. Guestbookdb. All right. So here I already created, so I just use it directly. Then we have a JSP folder and Java source file, JavaBeans. Yeah, in this example, I have 2 JavaBeans. Yeah, let me show you 2 JavaBeans first. All right, guestbean, yeah, that's just a regular data structure JavaBean. We store data in guestbean, guest information, first name, last name, and email. We store these 3 properties in this JavaBean, guestbean. Yeah. So the second one, guest data bean. We need to do data processing. We need to do database queries. So we need a second special JavaBean that is for data processing type JavaBean. It's not a data structure, it's a data processing JavaBean. Okay, yeah. So you will see all database related, JDBC database related query code. Yeah, we will do that. Right? Yeah. So that's the 2 JavaBeans. All right. Now let me run this example. All right. First, I create a project called a guestbook project. All right. New dynamic web project. Let's call it guestbook. All right. Upper, lower, not that important. Yeah. All right. Next, and I like to select web.xml because our welcome file won't be default welcome file. Our welcome file is non-default. So we need to change the welcome file name in the web.xml. Okay. So finish. All right. Then data copy. Oh, remember one thing. Yeah, so here I just, in the example I give you, I didn't include database driver file. Look at 3 folders. I didn't include database driver file. So we need to use animal surveys database driver file. Okay, but otherwise we cannot access database. All right, so here, let me do that. Yeah. All right. File copy. All right, web app. Yeah. Let me do web app file copy. Okay. All right, so this JSP. Yeah, look at that JSP. All right, so these 2 JSP files, I select both of them, drag and drop under web app node, copy. Okay, yep. All right, yeah, you can see some errors. The reason, very simple. Yeah, the reason, yeah, probably we need to change the order. The reason, because in these 2 JSP, we need to use JavaBeans, but we haven't copied JavaBeans. That's why the compiler detect, some missing Java classes. Yeah, so we should copy Java classes first. Yeah, all right. So here, yeah, so we can do copy. We can do copy. Yeah. All right, source, this org, this, oh, just, yeah, this org folder. All right. Okay, yeah. All right, org.me.jsp.beans. All right, then now we have the, let's see, how can we, yeah. All right, the error thing, yes, we need to move a little bit, all right? Yeah, because you need to move and save, yeah. Yeah, it's gone, all right? Yeah. It's still, because when you move a little bit, you do not add anything, yeah. Then you make the, tool do the checking again, fix those 2 errors, yeah. Similarly, for this second JSP file, yeah, still those things, we just, yeah. All right, it's gone. All right, yeah. Error is gone. Yeah, and Then web.xml, we need to change the welcome file. Guestbook login.jsp. That's the welcome file. Okay. Guestbook login. All right. Guestbook login. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Spelling check. Yeah. Guestbook login. All right. Save. So welcome file is done. All right. One thing, don't forget, database driver. Here, I like to copy from animal survey. Yeah. I didn't include in that folder. Yeah. So you need to find it from animal survey here. This drivers class, copy and paste. All right, see, yeah, Java there, yeah, okay. Now we are ready to run it. Okay. So let's just run it. Guestbook. Right click, run as, run on server, select this. Yeah, always use the server. Finish. Yeah. All right, the login page, okay, user interface like this one. So we add new guest information, first name. Yeah, so let's just go Java as the first name, last name Bing. All right, yeah. Email, we'll just use some email, okay, yeah. All right, yeah, submit, okay. Yeah, then this is the page, okay. To guest information, like this, okay, yeah. It works, no error, that's all you need, okay, yeah. Here, I have a few minutes. Let me just show you code a little bit. All right. JavaBeans code first. Let's see. What's here? Yeah. JavaBeans. All right. The first one, so easy. I do not need to look at that. Guest Bean, trivial. The second one, let me show you a little bit. Guest data bean.java. All right. So let me make it larger. All right, like this. All right. Yeah, look at that. I hope you can see clear. Yeah, yeah, probably. I don't know. I may need to make it a little larger. Yeah. Yeah. All right. First, in the constructor, we do the driver loading driver. You can see class.fullname, that line we load driver. The standard steps. Second, database connection. All right. Yeah. So usually we just copy those lines, do some small modification on that database name. Yeah. Guestbook DB, that's the database name. After that, we do two queries. The first query, get records. Yeah. Prepare statement. All right. Then our SQL statement. So we list all the records. Yeah. All right. That's the first query. Second, add a record, add a new guest. three pieces of information. So you can see in the insert statement, we use 3 question marks because at the development time, we do not have the values for those 3 values. At the runtime, we get that from input, 3 values from the input. So we use 3 question marks. Yeah. All right. Then the first query method, you can see we call it get guest list method. It will return a list of arrow bracket guest bean Java generics here. So what's that? List arrow bracket guest bean. Yeah. What's that? Arrow bracket. So we call it Java generics. Okay, yeah. Today we don't have enough time, so I do. If you do not have the background of Java generics, so at some point I will explain the Java generics because it's very useful. It's fundamental. You need to use that feature a lot. Okay, so I will explain that sometime later. So then you execute the query, then you retrieve 3 pieces of data for all the users, all the guests in the table. Yeah, so that's the first query method. The second one, add guest method. You pass a parameter. The parameter type is a guest bean. It's a Java bean you pass to it. Okay, that one parameter Java bean, it carries 3 pieces of information: first name, last name, email. Yeah, all 3 pieces stored in the Java bean properties. All right. So then inside you retrieve those 3 pieces information. Then you address those 3 question marks, right? Set 3 values corresponding to 3 question marks in the insert query statement. 1 corresponds to the first question mark, all right? Now 2 corresponds to the second question mark, and the 3, third question mark. So you cover all the question marks, unknown parameters in the query statement. Then execute query, execute update, you complete the insertion. Yeah. So that's the data process Java bean. Okay. Yeah. All right. So pretty easy to understand. Yeah. Then let us go back to the, login JSP here. Login JSP. Yeah. All right. Then at the beginning, you can see all right. Yeah. At the beginning, you can see we use that use bean tag, right? JSP called a use bean tag. Okay. ID, guest, scope, page. We know page is default. You can omit that. Okay, default scope. So then the class. All right. And the second one, you put in request scope. Because the first one you only use once. The second one, you need to use it in the next page. All right. Yeah, we have 2 JSP pages. The second data process bean, you need to use it in the next page. So you put a request scope. And you want to make sure the second page stays in the same request scope. Yeah, so that's what you need. Okay, all right. So then, so the bottom first we check if these 3 pieces information is not null. Oh, not there. I need to change here. All right. Yeah. Not null. Yeah. Yeah. So then you fill in the form. The method here you use post. Okay. Action. Action. Guestbook login.jsp. The same JSP, you do the data processing. Okay. Same JSP, you do the data processing. All right. Okay. Yeah. 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 So then first name, last name. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Then submit. Okay. Then else part, right? Else part is the data processing part. Yeah. All right. This else part, that means, yeah. That means you get a first name, last name, email, not null. You have the values, right? Yeah. You have the values, and you do data copy, right? Yeah, you prepare. Look at that. This line, JSP : set properties, name guest property star. You know, data copy happen automatically, right? Yeah. So you should have a JavaBeans containing the data, guest containing the data. You add guest data dot add guest, then data insertion occurs after this line. Okay, yeah. So then you go to the next forward here, JSP : forward page equals to the second page. So in the second page, we display the data. Look at that. So we call the list JavaBeans method. So we display the data. All right, yeah. I run out of time, so I have to stop here. And later, if I need to explain a little more detail, I have a little more detail, I will bring it back later. Okay, bring that later when I need to explain something special. Yeah, but here, the general meaning, you can understand, yeah, at this point. All right, so that's it. Yeah.